Welcome to today's episode of One Drink, Three Bars. Today I'm going to be making my own version of a classic, the Whiskey Sour. Next I'll head out to try 3 different bars and compare theirs. I'll check out BarVegan in Atlanta's Ponce City Market. Then I'll head over to another Atlanta restaurant, Whiskey Bird. Finally, I'll finish it up here in Knoxville with a Whiskey Sour at Market Square mainstay Scruffy City Hall. Before we get started, I'd like to give a quick shout out to Cocktail Tony. If you want cocktail recipes along with some humor, check out his channel. I'll put the link in the description below. That's enough talk, let's make a whiskey sour. If you make this by the book, it's basically just some whiskey and some sour mix. There can be a few variations on it. Many people add an egg white to their whiskey sour. Purists may say that this makes it a Boston sour. However, if you go into any high-end cocktail bar, chances are you're going to get an egg white in your whiskey sour. The reason they do this is that it gives it kind of a frothy and silky texture without affecting the taste. If you walk into a neighborhood bar or a sports bar and order a whiskey sour, it's typically going to be some prepackaged sour mix and the whiskey, and this is perfectly acceptable and commonly found. Finally, the least common would be a vegan whiskey sour. Of course, technically the one without an egg white is vegan, but if you want a vegan version with that silky smoothness to it, you can use a surprising ingredient, aquafaba, better known as chickpea juice. This also gives the drink the frothy texture without affecting the flavor. So today I'm going to make my whiskey sour using the egg white method. Now this involves some extra steps and it's a little more time consuming. The main thing is that you have to shake this drink 2 separate times. First you'll dry shake it. So I'm going to show you that part. I'm going to add a few of the ingredients. We'll start out with the egg white. You don't have to get like every last bit of it in here. Next we're going to do 3/4 of an ounce of simple syrup. And then 3/4 of an ounce of fresh lemon juice. Finally, 2 ounces of your choice of whiskey. Today I'm using the High West Double Rye. I thought this would be a nice, like, strong flavor to stand up to all the sugar and citrus. I'm doing 2 ounces of it. Now, notice I am not putting the ice in here. I'm going to dry shake it. That's what dry shaking is, just the ingredients and no ice. And the purpose of this is to kind of fluff up that egg and give it that nice froth, so you really have to shake the crap out of it. And you'll feel your tins kind of like wanting to explode almost. And I would give this a good like 20-30 seconds.
Okay, I'm good.
And starting with the chest, let's shake. Keep those muscles contracted.
I think that's good. And next, I'm gonna shake it with this big ice cube because I don't want to dilute it too much, but I do want to cool it off a bit. And I also got this glass out of the freezer, which will help the temperature. In some places, even if they put the egg in it, they'll also use ice. But I prefer to leave the ice out because the froth is very attractive and nice, and I don't want to mess it up with ice. So now we're wet shaking it, and like as usual, just shake it until it's almost like too cold for you to touch. And now hopefully all of our hard work pays off and we have a nice frothy top. There we go. And the next thing I really like to do is I like to make a little bit of artwork using my bitters. Where we're gonna pretty it up. I've put 2 Luxardo cherries on a cocktail pick, which I'm gonna set there. And then I've taken my Angostura bitters and poured them into the lid because I want to use this little dropper for them. And Angostura bitters don't come with a dropper, and they're the darkest bitters I have, so I definitely, you'll see why in a minute why I want to use these. I'm gonna just put a few dots of them on the top of this drink. And after that, I'm just gonna run this through and make a little pattern. And there's the whiskey sour, or if you want to get technical, the Boston sour. This one's almost too pretty to drink, but I'm gonna go ahead and taste it. Yeah, this double rye, it really pops in here, and when I take the first sip, I kind of get the aroma of the bitters, and then I've got my cherries for a little dessert later. Today I decided to venture out of town and head down to Atlanta. I'm at the Ponce City Market, and I've never been here before. This is a really cool place. I just drove down from Knoxville, and as usual, traffic was pretty bad in Atlanta. I thought that maybe it wouldn't be as bad as it used to be, but I think it's gotten worse, or maybe I'm just a wuss about it. I need an adult beverage after that, and I'm going to try a vegan whiskey sour today. There's a place in here called BarVegan, and I'm wondering if they'll use some kind of egg substitute or something else to make the drink feel like nice and silky and smooth, or if they'll just use the lemon juice and the simple syrup. Let's get going. Bree, who is the bartender at BarVegan, was really busy, but she said she was okay with me filming her. And you can see right now that she's shaking all of the ingredients with ice. After this, she takes the ingredients and shakes them again without the ice. Now this is a pretty common technique. It's called a reverse dry shake. And as you saw when I made it, I just shook the dry ingredients first and then added the ice. Thanks. And do you guys use anything like to make it kind of frothy, since you can use an egg?
It's goya bean juice, so it's called aquafaba. It's the juice that's in the goya beans that makes it frothy instead of using the egg white.
Oh, cool. Thanks. Here I have my vegan whiskey sour, which uses aquafaba or chickpea juice instead of an egg white. Pretty cool. I don't know where I'd get one of these around Knoxville other than making it myself. And she used Woodford Reserve, and then it looked like the standard lemon juice and simple syrup. So I just got out of BarVegan, and it was a very good experience. The drink made with the chickpea juice, it was pretty good. Like, it didn't really affect the taste. The bartender was nice. I think her name was Brianna. I think that's what the receipt said. She was busy. They were getting pretty slammed. And yes, I've totally bent the rules of the channel a little bit by going somewhere that was busy. BarVegan, 2 thumbs up, but my other thumb's holding this phone, so sorry. There's the second one. Alright, I'm on my way to Whiskey Bird. I've got a reservation at 11. There was some road construction, and I'm running a little more behind than I would have liked. I'm going to be there on time, but I didn't have time to kind of do my intro outside on the way in, so doing it in here. But we'll see you in a few minutes when we get there. Alright, so this is the whiskey sour at Whiskey Bird. It uses their house-made sour mix, which has more lime than lemon juice, she said, and it's about a 50-50 mix. And she has used the well bourbon, which I'm not sure what it is, and nice little garnish with the cherry and orange. Let's taste it and see how it is. Pretty good. Here we are on the roof at Scruffy City Hall. The bartender asked what kind of whiskey I wanted, and I told him to choose. He chose Maker's Mark. He said he wished he had cherries, but they didn't keep any. The bar upstairs is very small and casual. He didn't use an egg white or other foaming agent, and the sour mix appeared to be pre-packaged. We enjoyed the atmosphere on the roof. Okay, so that episode's a wrap. To celebrate, I'm having one more whiskey sour. It's another one I made myself. This time, I used this Traverse City cherry whiskey that I got while I was in Michigan. And just did a really basic one without the egg. Threw a couple of their cherries in. And I think this one may actually be my favorite out of all four. Let's do a quick rundown. The one I had at home was definitely one of the best looking ones. The egg white and the design, that was something I didn't find at any of the three places I went to. And I don't think any of them used a rye whiskey either. So I got my first whiskey sour out at BarVegan in Atlanta. Obviously, this is a vegan restaurant. They also have a very extensive cocktail menu, and the whiskey sour was one of the things on it. It was a Friday afternoon. They were busy, but the bartender was okay with me filming. She used aquafaba instead of the egg white, and instead of doing a dry shake, she did a reverse dry shake. The bourbon she used was Woodford Reserve, and she poured it over just like your standard regular ice. At $18, it was the most expensive drink I've gotten on the channel so far. Even at the high price, I really liked the place and I liked the atmosphere, so I would still go back. The second whiskey sour I got out was at Whiskey Bird in Atlanta, and this is more of a kind of casual brunch place. The Whiskey Bird sour is listed on the menu and it just says bourbon and house-made sour mix. They wouldn't tell me what the house bourbon was for some reason. They seemed almost weirded out by it. It tasted fine. I didn't see her pouring it. I'm still alive, so whatever it was fine. And it didn't seem like the kind of place that would have anything too crappy. And I paid $9 for that whiskey sour, and I don't feel like that's a bad price at all. That's right in line, especially for a bigger city like Atlanta. And the third bar I went to was Scruffy City Hall here in Knoxville. That's one of my favorite places in Market Square. This was one where I expected to get a more simple, basic form of the whiskey sour. And I went up to the roof and that's exactly what I got. The bartender asked me what kind of whiskey I'd like. I told him to just use whatever he would like if he were making one for himself. So he used Maker's Mark. And I think that the sour mix was some prepackaged stuff. I didn't see a label on it or anything, but it looked like a store-bought bottle with a green cap on it. And so he just, basically, their version of the whiskey sour is kind of like a mixer and whiskey. And also the atmosphere there is great because you're on a roof overlooking Market Square. Which whiskey sour did you like best? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this content and you want to see more, be sure to subscribe, hit that bell, and like this video. And I'll see you next time.